Hello, good morning, buenos días a todos. Welcome to this year's virtual event. My name is Karen Pantoja Perez, or Señorita Pantoja for my students. I am a 4th grade DLI teacher at Von Renner Elementary in Newman. Saludos, Von Renner familia. I'm also a grad student at Fresno State, and I am a CSU Stanislaus alumni. All right, so today we will be reading Side by Side, Lado a Lado, the story of Dolores Huerta and Cesar Chavez. Now, I think it's really important that we learn about the work that Dolores did as well as the work that Cesar Chavez did. In addition to that, I think it's really important that we expand our knowledge and we learn about the history of the movement, as well as we learn about other leaders who were also part of this movement, such as Larry Itliong, among many others. Now, alongside with that, I highly encourage you to learn about the current organizations in your community that are still fighting today for our farm workers. La lucha sigue, the fight continues, and as educators, as parents, as community members, and as students, it is really important that we support our campesinos. All right. So, in honor of my favorite campesinos, my parents, Jose Pantoja and Maria Guadalupe Pantoja Perez, this book is for them, for those 25 years and counting of labor work out in the California fields. All right, let's do this. Before we begin reading, I would like to acknowledge the indigenous lands of the Salinans, Rumsens, and Esselins, which are the lands I currently occupy. In addition, I would like to acknowledge the ancestral lands of the Yokuts because it is the land most viewers are connecting from today. Side by Side, Lado a Lado, the story of Dolores Huerta and Cesar Chavez, by Monica Brown, illustrated by Joe Cepeda. In New Mexico, there lived a little girl named Dolores who talked so fast that her grandfather once said, "Dolores, you must have 7 tongues." Many miles away in Arizona, there lived a little boy named Cesar, who was a very good listener. Cesar listened to his mother cry when his family lost its home and they had to become migrant farm workers. When Dolores was a girl, she moved to California with her mother and brothers. She joined the Girl Scouts and worked to raise money for soldiers fighting in World War II. Cesar's family moved to California to follow the crops and work in the fields. Although he had to drop out of school to work, Cesar always had a book under his arm. From her mother, Dolores learned to think of others. When poor farm worker families had no place to sleep, Dolores' mother would let them stay at her hotel for free. Life for Cesar's family was difficult. All day they bent over in the hot sun picking lettuce, strawberries, and grapes. There was never enough water to drink out in the fields. Dolores grew up and became a teacher. She saw the farm worker children come to school cold and barefoot, too hungry to learn as well as they could. When Cesar grew up, he and his friends were hurt by dangerous tools and had mean bosses who sprayed the plants with poisons that made the farm workers sick. If you can see, these are actually pesticides that are really dangerous for both humans, animals, and pretty much everyone. Then something special happened. Dolores and Cesar met. Dolores saw that Cesar had great faith. His dreams would bring hope to thousands of farm workers. Cesar saw that Dolores had great courage. She would stand up and fight for what was right. Side by side, Dolores and Cesar began their journey. Dolores and Cesar drove from town to town, standing on the back of flatbed trucks and inviting farm workers to join La Causa, the cause for justice. Together, they demanded better living and working conditions for the farm workers. Cesar and Dolores asked people to stop buying grapes from California because the poisons the growers used there were making the workers sick. People listened, and the grapes rotted on the vines. The farm workers won. They got a safer place to work, and the grapes became safer for people to eat. Cesar led men, women, and children on a 340-mile march to demand that workers get paid enough to live on. They arrived in Sacramento, California on April 10th, Dolores' birthday. Dolores gave an amazing speech, and the people were heard. The growers signed a contract with the workers, giving them better pay for their hard work. It was time for the farm workers to share in the harvest. Though they each had a large family, little food, and no money, when Dolores and Cesar sat down at Cesar's kitchen table, they always looked for better ways to make the world a better place. If we don't help the farm workers, Cesar asked Dolores, who will? When the growers and politicians wouldn't listen, Cesar stopped eating for 36 days so that others would understand how important it was to protect the workers. When their bosses bullied them, the workers used to say, "We can't do it. We can't win." But with the help of Dolores, they began to chant, "Sí se puede." Yes, we can. For 30 years, Dolores and Cesar worked and listened and talked and marched, side by side. Dolores and Cesar worked to help families stay together. They fought to pass the Immigration Act of 1986 that helped more than 1 million immigrants become United States citizens. Dolores and Cesar had many victories because they knew that, together, all things were possible. In 1993, Cesar passed away, and Dolores and the farm workers marched to honor him. Dolores still works and marches for justice for the poor, and she is not alone. The spirit of Cesar Chavez is with her, by her side. Now here we have a photograph of Dolores Huerta and Cesar Chavez. And it says, Cesar was a very smart person and a very hard worker who believed in helping people and reaching goals through non-violent and peaceful methods. Dolores Huerta. Y colorín colorado, este cuento se ha acabado.